Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Today, I'm finally talking about Project Delta. So I appreciate you sticking around and learning more about the hard to kill training methodology as we went over those 13 different areas that we train. And the reason I did that is because I feel like to truly understand Project Delta, you have to understand what our programming looks like right now. And what we do is we hit those 13 areas of training, and we do that over every 30-day window. And what we've discovered over years now with thousands of athletes is that this is an actual, very effective method, and it challenges a lot of notions out there that other people and other coaches and programmers don't like. Everybody tries to put everything into this 7-day window, or they repeat things, or they don't think about things, or there's things left off the program. There are gaping holes in people's programming to where you think that you're getting better at something, but you are actually getting worse at other things and sacrificing getting better at something else. This is always the problem. And me personally, programming to me has just been a challenge. It's been like an intellectual challenge to try and get better at and better at. And I don't think anyone else is really doing what we're doing at Garage Gym Athlete. Is we are trying to have the best, well-rounded programming out there. Like if you were to say, I want to be the strongest possible human being on the planet Earth, what we do at Garage Gym Athlete would not be good for you, right? You would have to make sacrifices in endurance, aerobic endurance, a lot of different areas, ultimately to pursue just strength. And same with endurance athletes. If you're like, what, I want to run the fastest possible marathon time I could ever possibly do, we're not going to be a good fit for you. Like we could help you prepare for that race somewhat, but if you want to run the fastest possible time and keep getting faster and faster, Garage Gym Athlete is probably not for you. You should get a very endurance-focused coach at the expense of what? Strength, muscular endurance, neglecting different energy systems, not hitting any mixed modal aerobic training, all these different kind of things. And what we're doing at Garage Gym Athlete is trying to bridge that gap. We want to be the jack of all trades because we think that it does a couple of things for you. Being the jack of all trades when it comes to fitness, and you're not a professional athlete or you're not trying to set some marathon PR, what it does for you is it makes you an incredibly well-rounded human being in performance and longevity. So we're taking into account all the longevity factors of trying to help you live a longer, healthier life. But at the same time, if that's the only goal you had in life was, I just want to be healthy and live longer, I hear people say that, but I don't actually believe you, because you could just do bicep curls, bench press, and squat and walk a couple miles per day. And that might actually be the best program for longevity out there, because your risk of injury goes way down. You're playing it safe. You're not going to have to do any of the hard things, and really you can just get a little bit of fitness in. And who knows, maybe that's the best approach, but that's not what people really want. People want to be able to do cool things. They want performance. They don't want to get injured, and they want to live a long time. And I get it. And that's who we are programming for, because those are all the things that I want. And I know that's the things a lot of our athletes want. So I'm going to try to explain Project Delta without getting too into the weeds to make it sound overly complex, because really your main takeaway after listening to what Project Delta is that you should just be a part of Garage Gym Athlete for the next cycle of training and do Project Delta. That's it. That should be your takeaway, because I've been testing this for months now, not just with myself. I've been testing the programming. I've been refining it, finding out the gaps, what the holes are, how it works, what's good and what's bad. And I've also been testing it with other athletes. And I think it's probably one of the best programming methods, that's what Project Delta is, that I've ever created. And so I am going to unpack it a little bit more, starting with what is Project Delta, why call it Project Delta? Well, Delta means change. And that is exactly what this is. This is a change from our current methodology, but really it's a change in the right direction. It's a change by addition. It's by adding multiple things together. Now, one thing that we did not talk about when I was going over our programming series, the Hard to Kill programming methodology, was that there are 13 areas that we train over a course of 30 days in the Hard to Kill programming, method and methodology. But there's also another form that I've talked a lot about on the podcast, another form programming method we have called body geometry. Now, body geometry is trying to balance out muscle contractions and movement competency streams. And again, this sounds super boring for somebody who's not like really back in the weeds, but what you can think about, and the reason I had body geometry, the reason we created it, and we programmed a lot of it recently at Garage Gym Athlete on the Hard to Kill track, the reason we created it is because I wanted to make sure we weren't neglecting anything. Because if all you ever do is train energy systems, or all you ever do is train strength, or even if you're training all the 13 different areas, you can still end up with some gaps. You could, and this is not gaps from the fitness standpoint, because all of those boxes are checked. It would be gaps in the movement standpoint. Like, hey, we're doing too much sagittal plane. We're not getting any frontal plane, or we're not getting any hip isolation movements, or we're not getting any trunk sagittal or trunk rotational, all these different things. And so once I realized that several years ago, I created body geometry. So real quick, there are multiple different movement competency streams within body geometry. And so like squat is a movement competency stream, and it would progress through the competency stream, like from level 1 all the way up to level 7 or 9. We added more levels over time to what you can handle as an athlete. And each one of these movement competency streams has that. So think of, dozens of movement competency streams, and then also within each competency stream, multiple levels of movement that you can progress through. So the possibilities are endless, but body geometry, how we utilized it was almost like a balancing cycle. It was good, but it could also get boring because it's a lot of supersets. It's a lot of, over and over again type, like you see the same things, not the same movements, but you see the same type of workout every Monday. And that's the stuff that we've tried to, get away from with the Hard to Kill programming methodology. So what we've done is we've finally found a way to combine the two flawlessly. And sometimes that doesn't work out. It doesn't work out to where you can program all of these things and it work out. But we've finally figured out a way to make sure that they do. And so what we've done is we've taken the Hard to Kill training methodology, where we're training these 13 areas: strength, speed, strength, speed, muscle endurance, strength endurance, power endurance, aerobic endurance, alactic, lactic, oxidative energy systems, mixed modal aerobic, and mixed modal anaerobic training. We've taken all 13 of those areas, and now we are going to make sure all of those are hit every 30 days, but then we're going to also make sure that all of these competency streams are hit in the same amount of time. Squat competency stream, isometric and power-based movements, hip isolation, basic core, single leg, lunge competency stream, vertical push, horizontal pull, arm, tricep, arm, shoulder, trunk, sagittal, trunk, rotational, deadlift competency stream, vertical pull competency stream, arm, bicep, posterior chain competency stream. So now we have hit every single movement competency stream to keep you well-rounded, and we're also taking into account the different types of muscle contractions, concentric, eccentric, and isometric, while also hitting on the 13 different areas that we believe builds you into a robust human being ready for anything longevity or performance related. I'm telling you, I've been doing this for the last several months, and I feel the best I ever have. I feel like my body is very well taken care of. I feel like I'm hitting every area that I need to progress as an athlete and a human being while minimizing any chance of injury. And if you know anything about my story, I've dealt with injury a lot over the last several years, chasing some serious performance goals. And now I finally feel like I'm hitting my stride again as I go through this new Project Delta programming method, because I feel like my body is being taken care of. I can push it hard, and I know the next day is going to be something new, but still progressing me forward. So it eliminates this programming hopping idea, because I'm always doing something new, but I also know I'm hitting so many parts of a checklist that make a really well-rounded program that like it keeps me engaged. It keeps me in the game. That's from like the psychological standpoint. The physiological, like the actual, like what is this doing for your body and your fitness is phenomenal. I want to do this Project Delta training method for years because I think that's where it's really going to shine in the performance and longevity standpoint. Like it's going to be phenomenal. I've only been doing it for a few months, but like I said, I feel great and I think that it's awesome. So this is Project Delta. We will be talking about it more on the podcast, and there's a lot more information that's about to be published about Project Delta as we gear up for athletes to be doing Project Delta with us. So if you are one of our athletes or you're thinking about it and you run and sign up right now and you're like, yeah, I want to do Project Delta. It has not started for athletes yet. I'm giving you a lot of runway, a lot of lead time here to decide if you want to do Project Delta. And we're also going to push out a lot of information via email, social media, everywhere else, so you can be a part of it. But our programming basically works same as business quarters. So Q1 January, February, March is cycle 1 of Garage Gym Athlete. So April will begin our second cycle. So towards the end of March is when we will really get going with Project Delta, and more information will go about that. So it's cycle 2 that you can really expect to be a part of Garage Gym Athlete and do Project Delta training methodology. But that's it for this one. I wanted to introduce to you the idea, the concept behind it. I'll be on more with Joe as we podcast about Project Delta and future training cycles. But this kind of concludes ultimately what we're doing, how we're programming, and what our mission is here at Garage Gym Athlete. So thank you everyone for listening, and for all of our athletes who are out there putting in the work each and every single day. I really, truly appreciate each and every single one of you. And if you do want to be a part of this or Project Delta in the future, head over to garagegymathlete.com and sign up for a free trial. That's it for this one. Remember, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you.